Hey guys, and welcome on in to today's video. If you're interested in getting more political forecasting, commentary, and analysis, you can click that subscribe button. Heading into this one, I'm going to be talking about a hypothetical matchup between former President Obama and current President Donald Trump and how the Electoral College map might play itself out in a hypothetical 2020 presidential election. Now, this isn't something that we're going to be seeing in real life because you're limited to being president for just 2 terms in the United States, but still nonetheless a map that I want to work through and see how it might play itself out if these two were to go head to head. Now, Obama definitely has his advantages in comparison to Hillary Clinton against Donald Trump, because when we look at their favorabilities, it's not even close when especially you're looking between Obama and Clinton, who's become one of the least favorable either current or former politicians in the United States. But going into that 2016 general election between Clinton and Trump, both of them historically low, awful numbers in the upper 30% range, which is a pretty crazy number when you're going into a presidential election. Clinton's still able to get the popular vote by about 3 million votes in comparison to Trump, but Donald Trump was able to do better in a number of these swing states to push the Electoral College into his favor as he went on to take down Clinton. Now, Obama currently, his favorability, it's continued to go up ever since he's left office. It's at about 66%. When he was president, it was more in about the 45 to 60% range, depending on what year that you're looking at. But that's one big advantage that he would have against Trump in comparison to someone like Clinton. But it's not all bad news for Trump. He's viewed as more of a protectionist in terms of trade, and that can play really well in a number of these states that he was able to flip over to the Republican side in 2016, even though Obama was able to win these particular states. And also, Obama is viewed as more of a globalist. He might have to change his stance if he wanted to maybe win some of these states. He might win them anyways, just because in general, these tend to be more Democratic states than Republican, but Trump nonetheless would have a chance at making things maybe a bit too close to call or uncomfortable for someone like Obama in terms of that margin of victory. But nonetheless, going to be working our way through this map, first giving Obama the states that we see as no-brainers for him to pick up, and then doing the same for Trump, and then working our way through some of these battleground state results. So the first thing we're going to do is give Obama every state that Clinton won in 2016. We don't see Obama doing worse in any state in comparison to Clinton against Trump. So that means we're going to be giving him Washington, Oregon, California, Hawaii. And the reason that we don't see Obama doing worse in any of these states than Clinton is based basically purely on the fact that his approval numbers are so much better than Clinton's, about 20 to 30%, depending on what poll you're looking at. And that would definitely allow him to have either similar or more success in basically every state across the country. So moving on here, Nevada, New Mexico, Colorado, Minnesota, Illinois, and then Virginia, District of Columbia, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. And when we're looking at the right-hand side of the screen here, we're looking at historical data. So the upper right-hand corner, we have the 2008 map. That was Obama versus McCain. Below that, the 2012 map, which was Obama versus Romney. And then the final map in the bottom right-hand corner was 2016, which was Clinton versus Trump. The red states being the Republican results, the blue states being the Democratic ones. So now we have Obama up to 233 Electoral College votes. He only needs 37 more to put himself over the line. Moving on over to Trump, states that are going to be no-brainers for him are going to be ones that he won against Clinton by well over 10 percentage points. These are going to be more states that he won in the 20, 30, 40% range, and also states that Obama wasn't able to pick up as well. So we're going to be giving Trump Alaska, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Utah, even though Utah is one of those interesting states because they're not all that favorable of Donald Trump, for instance, but still a very red Republican state that we would still see him winning against Obama. Also a state that Obama lost in 2008 and 2012. Moving on to North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, and West Virginia. Now, all of these other states were ones that Trump was able to win by less than 10 percentage points against Clinton. and also ones where maybe Obama could make things interesting or pick up some of these states, likewise on Trump's side of things. So we're going to be starting out in the western side of the United States and working our way east. So first, talking about Arizona. So let's look at some of these historical results going back to 2008, and we can see McCain was able to beat Obama here by about 8 to 9 percentage points. Not a big surprise, Arizona being a state that McCain is the senator from. Moving on to 2012, and a similar result, about a 10% gap between the results there from Romney and Obama. Moving on to 2016, actually quite a bit closer, about 3.5 percentage points between Trump and Clinton, showing that Trump's kind of politics maybe doesn't necessarily play quite as well out in Arizona as some more traditional establishment type Republicans like a Romney or even a McCain, who's maybe not necessarily an establishment type of Republican, but still nonetheless his home state. Also, Arizona, a state where we're seeing the demographics shift in the Democrats' favor. You have a lot of retirees moving from a state like California over to Arizona, also becoming more of a Hispanic state, and the southwest of the United States has been tending to shift more towards the Democrat side. We've seen them now start to take states like Nevada, New Mexico, and Colorado, and Arizona does feel like the next hat to drop in this scenario. And with Clinton only losing to Trump by about 3.5 percentage points, this is a state where we feel like Obama, just because of his profile and his favorabilities in comparison to Trump, would play well enough where he'd be able to pick up a state like Arizona. Moving on over to Texas, and of course, Obama losing the state both in 2008 and 2012. Looking at the numbers here, it was about 12 percentage points against McCain, and then about 15 to 16 percentage points against Romney. But then we look at the 2016 results, where Clinton only lost to Trump by about 9 percentage points. This is just another scenario where we're seeing the demographics shift in a state like Texas, and that probably makes this a bit more competitive. Also, Donald Trump not all that popular in a state like Texas, especially because of his feud with the Bush family, for instance. I wouldn't even be surprised to see the Bush family support somebody like Obama and give him an endorsement against a candidate like a Trump. But still, nonetheless, we still think that Texas is going to be red enough in 2020 where Trump would be able to do well enough to get it, even though it's probably closer than many might expect, probably within about 5 percentage points or so if he went against Obama, but still going to be giving it to Donald Trump and the Republicans side. Moving on to more of the Midwest area, starting with Missouri. So going back to 2008, looking at the result here, basically the exact same number of votes between Obama and McCain. McCain was able to get just enough over here by about 3,000 votes to take down Obama. Obama didn't do nearly as well in 2012, where he lost to Romney by about 9 percentage points. And then in 2016, we see Trump beating Clinton by about 19 percentage points. And we see Obama doing a lot better than Clinton was able to do in the state, much like we see back in 2008 and 2012. But still, we see Trump's support being strong enough here where he's able to also take Missouri. Moving on up to Iowa, a very interesting state. Obama back in 2006, winning it by almost 10 percentage points. Moving on over to 2012, he won it by about 6 percentage points. But then we go to Trump versus Clinton, and Trump winning it by almost 10 percentage points. So quite a flip there that we saw. For whatever reason, Obama is very popular in the state of Iowa. He was able to grab this toss-up state both in 2008 and 12 in comparison to Trump, really almost dominating, almost winning by double-digit percentage points against Clinton. We see this as being a very close race, probably even closer than what we saw between Romney and Obama back in 2012. But still, in what's probably almost a coin flip, we still think that Obama would be able to get this state that he was able to win both of the times that he ran as president. Moving on to Wisconsin. In 2008, Obama winning the state by 14 percentage points. In 2012, winning it by 6 percentage points. And then we see in the most recent election, Trump able to flip it over, winning by less than 1 percentage point against Clinton. And Clinton, her message just didn't resonate all that well with Wisconsin voters. We even saw that in her primary against Bernie Sanders, where Sanders did very well in Wisconsin, taking her down. For whatever reason, Clinton just not a very popular figure there in a state like Wisconsin. We see Obama doing much better and probably getting this back in the Democrat side of things, especially since it was so close between Clinton and Trump. Trump not necessarily all that overwhelmingly popular in a state like Wisconsin either, but still we see Obama being able to take the state that he was able to grab both in 2008 and 2012. Moving on over to Indiana, Obama was able to pick this up in 2008. He lost it in 2012. And of course, Trump dominating Clinton in Indiana in 2016, especially with that Mike Pence factor. We see that staying on Trump's side. Moving over to Ohio, a state where Obama was able to beat McCain by about 4 percentage points, and then moving on to Romney, beating him by about 2 percentage points. But then in 2016, Trump flipping the state back to the Republicans, winning by about 8 percentage points. And I feel like Trump's protectionist rhetoric definitely helps him out in a state like Ohio. And it was really close between Obama and McCain and Romney in those prior elections. And I think that Trump does better in a state like Ohio than a McCain or a Romney, and does enough to flip it from Obama over to the Republicans. Like I said, a state that Obama was able to win his 2 times running, Trump able to win it in 2016. And simply just his protectionist rhetoric on trade is probably enough for him to claim and keep a state like Ohio. Now, moving up to Michigan, a bit more of a Democratic state in general than Ohio. Also a state where that protectionist rhetoric will help Trump out. We look at the map here back in 2008, Obama winning by about 17 percentage points against McCain, winning by about 10 percentage points against Romney. And Romney did a bit better there because of his former ties to the state. His dad, I believe, was the governor of Michigan. But then we look back in 2016 and Donald Trump winning by 0.3 percentage points. And Clinton, not the most popular figure in a state like Michigan. She lost the primary there to Bernie Sanders in what was a pretty big surprise. And then also Trump able to flip this state over, which is generally a pretty safe Democratic state, especially in a national federal election. Obama was able to win this state fairly convincingly both of his first 2 times running. Even though Trump was able to just win it by 0.3 percentage points, we feel like he would be able to significantly outperform what Clinton was able to do in the state and get this to his side. And that pushes Obama over that 270 mark to officially win the election, but we still got some big states to dish out here, so we're going to work our way through the rest of the map. Moving on our way to Pennsylvania, probably halfway in between a state like Ohio and Michigan in terms of how Democratic it is. A little bit more Democratic, I'd say, than Ohio, maybe slightly less than a state like Michigan. We look at the 2008 results, Obama winning it by 10%, in 2012 winning it by about 5 to 6%. And then Trump flipping the state over to the Republicans, winning by less than 1% of the vote. A very close election there in a state like Pennsylvania. Another state where that protectionist type of rhetoric can help someone like Donald Trump out. But again, a state that Obama was able to carry twice and win by a much larger percentage than Trump was able to beat Clinton by. We feel like a lot of that African-American vote would help him out and come out for him even more so to flip this. And also just his broad base approval and support for Obama would be able to flip Pennsylvania back over to the Democrats if he ran in 2020. Moving on down to Florida, Obama won it back in 2008 by about 1.5 percentage points, and then he won it in 2012 by less than 1 percentage point. Then we look at it, and Trump was able to win by a little bit more than 1 percentage point. Another one of those states that it just seems like it's very close no matter which candidates are running on the Democrat and Republican side. Trump was able to have his message spread enough there to where he was able to claim the victory by a very slim margin, kind of similar to the margin that Obama was able to have in 2008 and 2012. This is one of the more difficult states for us to pick out just because Obama won it twice, Trump won it once, and it was both by about the same percentage point. Probably a coin flip between these two, but we just see Obama's favorability being about 20 to 30 percentage points higher than Trump right now. That's probably just enough to get him over and winning a state like Florida. Even you compare Trump's approval ratings to someone like a McCain or a Romney, it's a little bit worse than that even, and his protectionist rhetoric doesn't necessarily work quite as well in a state like Florida that it might up in the Midwest, where he's able to do a bit better than a traditional Republican might be able to do. And I could really see this state probably going either way, but just in their terms of favorability, I'd see Obama probably being able to get over the hump and flip Florida back over to the Democrats' side. Just a couple more results here. Georgia, a state that's continuing to get closer, and probably in terms of the southeastern states other than Florida, the best chance a Democrat has of winning one of these southeastern states. We look back at 2008, Obama only lost by 5 percentage points, and then about 8 percentage points in 2012, but again, moving back closer, even with an unfavorable candidate like Clinton only losing by about 5 percentage points. We see this as being a very close matchup between Trump and Obama, but still a state that Obama lost twice and Trump was able to claim. So we still feel like he would probably be able to win Georgia. And then moving on to North Carolina, Obama picked this up by 0.4 percentage points in 2008. Moving on to 2012, he lost it by a little less than 2 percentage points. And then we see here in 2016, Trump not doing extremely well by any means, especially in comparison to a lot of these surrounding states to North Carolina, but still able to win it by about 3.5 percentage points. In North Carolina, of course, more recently, they elected a Democratic governor, which was pretty big for them in a statewide election back in 2016. And another one of those states that Democrats are trying to bring over to their side of things, as this is one of those states that's definitely been a battleground. Obama was able to win it 1 out of 2 times. Trump was able to pick it up. Probably a pretty competitive election, but as things continue to change going into 2020, and this is another one of those states, kind of like Florida, where Obama's favorability being so much better than Trump is probably enough to get him over the line. Even a state where, especially, for instance, that Clinton was able to keep things as competitive as she was able to do, like a state like Florida. So we see North Carolina also going back over to Obama's side, like he was able to win it back in 2008, as a state like North Carolina continues to become a bit more Democrat year by year. So with that being the case, this is how we have the map playing out, 340 to 198. Some of these states really close. We could probably see a case being made on either side of things, and basically just Obama's favorability in these very close elections, probably enough to put him over the top. States like Florida, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa. We did give Trump states like Ohio and Indiana, which are states that Obama has shown that he can win. We also gave him Missouri, which can be a pretty competitive race depending on who's the Democrat in the race. But this is how we see the map playing out, guys. 340 to 198. Kind of a similar result to what we saw between Obama and his prior 2 Republican challengers, McCain and Romney. But still, nonetheless, we see Obama being able to take down Trump primarily because of his favorability numbers and just how great of a campaigner Obama is. People tend to forget that when Obama went into 2008, he did not have name recognition, especially in comparison to Hillary Clinton. He was able to beat her in that 2008 primary just because of how effective of a campaigner he is. And we see that as also being a factor in Obama being able to take down Trump. Trump, a pretty effective campaigner in his own right, especially in comparison to someone like Hillary Clinton. But with Obama really fighting back, I think he'd be able to do that a lot more effectively than Clinton was able to do. So again, guys, this is how I see the map playing out between Obama and Trump. For more political forecasting, analysis, and commentary, you can click that subscribe button. And we hope to see you guys back here for future videos. Bye.